All right, CNT 120, we are going to go through the Chapter 1 lab that we'll be doing on Packet Tracer. So I'm on the Chapter 1 page here. I'm scrolling down to the Do section. Right here's the Do section. Here was our quiz. Here's our lab directions. The first thing I want to do is open the lab directions. Once I've opened that, I'll probably want to download a copy of that for myself so I have it for easy reference. So do like a download as PDF kind of thing. And it might be handy if you have a second monitor to maybe, open that PDF and slide it on the second monitor for so you can read that as you're doing the lab on your main screen. So here's my Chapter 1 lab. There it is right there. Now I'm going to keep this handy so we can work through it together, but there's my lab. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to go back to the Do page here. I also need to download, let me go back here again. I need to download the Packet Tracer file. When I click on this link, it's going to say it doesn't recognize. That's fine. I'm going to do download, and it'll download to my downloads folder, or I could pick open here, but I'm going to do a save to my downloads folder, and then I'll open it from there. That way I definitely have that file handy. There he is right there because I've downloaded it a couple times now. There is my version 8 Packet Tracer lab. So I'm going to open that with my version 8 Packet Tracer. All right. So at this point, I really don't need my browser anymore. I'm just going to be working between Packet Tracer and my lab file. So I'm going to kind of squeeze this together just a little bit so I can toggle between that and the lab itself. Okay. So what we're going to do in this lab is we're going to try to take a look at the OSI model in terms of a working network. Look for these layers that you read about with the OSI model in a working network. So I've downloaded the directions, I've downloaded the Packet Tracer file, I have that open, and again, there's always going to be podcasts for any lab we do, so feel free to use those to work through the lab. This first podcast, I'm going to try to focus in on the layer 1. So we see here a network with, a Philadelphia router, Philadelphia switch, and stuff at the Philadelphia site. And we also have a router, switch, and PCs at the Harrisburg site. That's what we have going on. So right here, once we've opened the Packet Tracer file, we'll notice that we're viewing the logical layout. This is my logical part of my network. We are going to focus in on getting this laptop connected into the network here, into our switch. But we're not going to do it here. We're going to do it on the physical side. So I'm going to open the physical tab. And you'll notice I see the Harrisburg City and Philadelphia City. I'm going to open up the Harrisburg side. I'm going to open up the corporate office. That's our office building. And in here, I'll notice there is my actual PCs with my wiring closet. We are going to get this laptop connected into the network like I would in real life. So now that I'm on the physical tab, I'm on the Harrisburg City corporate office. We'll see the wiring closet, laptop, wall mount box, etc. We are going to connect this laptop into the network. Well, a real physical connection actually takes 2 patch cables. One that's going to connect here to the outlet on the wall, like in your office, and a second one that's going to be connected in the closet. So, first thing we're going to do is let's get the connection here between the laptop and the wall outlet. To do that, we're going to use the connections down here. I'm going to open this connections tab, and I'm going to open this or use this straight through copper patch cable. Hold on, my screen, it looks like my Packet Tracer is sliding off the screen here a little bit, so let me see if I can shrink this down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So when I click on the copper straight through, or actually highlight over it, you'll see down at the bottom the menu changes saying that's a copper straight through. That's the one we want. We're going to click on that. We're going to click on the laptop. We're going to pick the fast Ethernet port. That's the network card. We're going to drag this cable over to the wall outlet. We're going to click on the wall outlet, and we're going to click on one of the jacks. I'm going to use the first one here, jack 0, and plug my laptop in. You'll notice it's cabled, but I also see a red triangle indicating it's not fully connected yet. That's right, because we have a second cable we need to do on our wiring closet. So now we're going to go over to the wiring closet and connect that cable in the wiring closet. So let's click on the wiring closet. And here is the actual equipment rack. There's a table here. There's a shelf over here. A couple cables hanging on the wall. We are going to make the connections over here that we need. Well, I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so I can see this a little bit better. The outlet box on the wall gets terminated to this patch panel. So we need to now take a patch cable from the patch panel and plug it into the switch. That is how a real network is set up in a building like, a school or an office building. So we're going to take a straight through patch cable down here, or I can grab one of these. Either one of those will do. I'm going to grab the copper straight through. I'm going to plug into this very first port and plug it down here into this very first switch port. That is the actual laptop that we have in the network. Well, while we're at it, let's patch in all 4 of those outlet box ports. Let's just patch in all 4. We're going to use the first 4 ports here and the first 4 ports on the switch. That way they're all cabled in. So anything that we'd plug in that office is now able to be connected into the network. Okay, that's what we did right here. So now we see those 4 patch cables hanging in there. If I were to hover over one of these, it'll highlight and it'll give me a little bit of detail of what it's plugged into, what patch panel port and which switch port, which is handy for troubleshooting things later. If I want to, I can also clean up my patch cables. If I were to right-click on top of my switch here, I can do manage all cables, and it actually cleans them up like you'd have in a real closet. It actually kind of bundles them off to the side like you'd have in real, cleans them up so they're not hanging in the way. So now we've cabled the laptop out in the office, and then we've patched in from the patch panel into the switch, and I'll see this right here, little blinky light, is for my laptop. My laptop is actually connected into the network. So we are going to back out. We're going to back out one level using this guy right here. This back out one level. And we'll now see our laptop has a green triangle on plugged into this outlet. This is now cabled in and functioning in our network because I have a green blinky link light there, which is letting me know that that is functional. Again, that is handy for troubleshooting purposes. Let's go back to the logical view like we started at. Over here is our logical view. And now I see, well, I might need to just move the laptop. Sometimes those links show up oddly when you come back. But now my laptop is cabled in, and I see a green blinky link light here. Excellent. Okay. So there is my laptop cabled into, on the physical side over here, like in real life, and now on the logical side here, showing a blinky link light. That is a physical connection into our network. Now, if I hold my mouse over, like the switch here, a big summary comes up showing you what ports are up and what ports are down, indicating something's plugged in and functioning and working, or there's nothing plugged in. You'll see next to Fast Ethernet 01, that's the port we plugged into, the link is showing up. Again, that's another helpful tip when you're troubleshooting connections on devices. If I were to do it over here on the router, I see the same thing. Next to the ports that are configured and working, I see up next to them. The ones that are not plugged in or not configured are down, indicating those are physically down. They're shut off, if you will. All right. So now that we have a basic layer 1, that's basically our layer 1. That's our layer 1 part of our network, physical cabling in. This laptop has been cabled in. These were all previously cabled. The devices over at the Philadelphia side, as well as the servers over here at the Philadelphia side. So we're going to work on the Harrisburg guy next, but he's going to require something else. So we are going to do him with part 2 of our lab. All right. So this podcast was for layer 1. Next podcast, we'll come back and look at layer 2.